The Cosmic Underdogs. The Galactic Confederation had monitored Earth for centuries, watching with mild interest as humans developed primitive spacecraft and basic quantum theory. They classify Earth as a Category 3 developing world, interesting enough to study, but hardly worth formal diplomatic relations. When first contact was finally authorized, it wasn't for diplomatic purposes, but for assessment. The massive Confederation vessel materialized in Earth's orbit on a Tuesday morning in April. Global panic ensued for approximately 12 hours before the aliens transmitted their intentions in all Earth languages simultaneously. They had come to evaluate humanity's potential contribution to galactic knowledge. High Commander Zix Terrell, a seven-limbed being with iridescent scales and compound eyes, addressed the United Nations Security Council via hologram. Your species shows promise, but remains unproven. The translator rendered Zix Terrell's complex series of clicks and whistles. We will conduct a standard intelligence assessment. 4 representatives will be selected to attend the Galactic Academy of Sciences. Their performance will determine your species' classification. What the commander didn't explain was that the test wasn't designed to find Earth's brightest minds, as humans understood the concept. It sought specific neural patterns that indicated problem-solving capabilities valuable to the Confederation. The test was administered globally via satellite. Billions participated, hoping to represent humanity. Nobel laureates, scientific prodigies, and renowned intellectuals all sat before screens, solving increasingly complex problems. When the results were announced a week later, the world was stunned. Maya Reynolds, a 34-year-old mechanic from Detroit who never finished community college, stared at the official notification on her phone with disbelief. "This has to be some kind of mistake," she told the government agents at her apartment door. "The selection is final," they responded, handing her a pack with essential supplies. "Transport leaves in 3 hours." Across the globe, 3 others received similar visits. In Nairobi, Kenya, Jabari Mwangi set down his gardening tools. At 26, he'd bounced between odd jobs since dropping out of university, where he'd been studying theoretical physics before financial problems, and an unconventional approach to established theories ended his academic career. In Seoul, Dr. Soo Jin Park was cleaning her cluttered apartment when the notification arrived. Though brilliant in her field of quantum computing, she'd been fired from 3 research positions for undisciplined methodology and excessive theoretical tangents. In Buenos Aires, Elena Valdez was in the middle of a chess match against herself when government officials arrived. At 19, she'd already gained notoriety for hacking several major corporations, not for profit or sabotage, but simply to identify and fix security vulnerabilities nobody had asked her to address. The 4 met for the first time aboard a shuttle ascending to the Confederation vessel. They sized each other up with confusion and suspicion. "So," Maya said, breaking the awkward silence, "anyone else feeling like there's been a massive clerical error?" Jabari laughed. "I was just thinking the same thing. I fix gardens and occasionally tinker with theoretical models nobody takes seriously. I got fired last month for the 3rd time." Soo-jin offered. "Apparently, you're too scattered is a common theme in my performance reviews." Elena remained quiet, studying the shuttle's control systems with intense focus before finally speaking. "The test wasn't measuring what we think it was measuring." When they arrived aboard the massive Confederation vessel, they were greeted by Liaison Officer Kelb, a humanoid being with blue-tinted skin and 4 arms. "Welcome, human representatives," Kelb said. "We depart immediately for the Galactic Academy of Sciences. The journey will take approximately 7 of your Earth days." "Excuse me," Soo-jin interrupted, "but I think there's been a mistake. We're hardly Earth's most accomplished scientists." Kelb's expression remained unreadable. "The selection process is infallible. You each possess neural patterns indicating high adaptive intelligence, a rare and valuable trait." During the journey, they learned that the Galactic Confederation encompassed over 3,000 sentient species across 12 galaxies. The Academy served as both research institution and proving ground for newly discovered intelligent life. Most new species fail their initial assessment, Kelb explained during an orientation session. Of the last 17 species evaluated, only 3 achieved sufficient ranking to join the Confederation. What happens to those who fail? Elena asked. Their worlds are classified as protectorates, studied but not consulted, observed but not engaged with. When they arrived at the Academy, a massive ring-shaped station orbiting a binary star system, they were immediately overwhelmed. Beings of every imaginable form moved through vast halls filled with technology beyond human comprehension. During their first weeks, their inadequacies became painfully apparent. In comparative xenophysics, Maya struggled with equations that seemed to operate in 12 dimensions. In advanced quantum mechanics, Jabari's unorthodox approaches earned him dismissive clicks and whistles from the instructor, a gaseous entity contained in a transparent suit. Su Jin found herself utterly lost in cosmological engineering, while Elena discovered that her programming skills were considered rudimentary at best. "We're failing everything," Maya said one evening in their shared quarters. "I can barely understand the questions, let alone answer them." "It's not just the advanced knowledge," Jabari observed. "It's like they think in completely different patterns than we do." Elena, who had been quietly writing code on her tablet, looked up. "That's exactly it. They're testing us against their standards of intelligence, not recognizing different types of thinking." Su Jin nodded excitedly. "That's why we were chosen. We don't think like conventional Earth scientists. We think sideways." Their opportunity came unexpectedly during their 6th week. A priority alert blared through the Academy, summoning all students and faculty to the central amphitheater. The station's primary reactor, a contained quantum singularity, was becoming unstable. Grand Scholar Vexmorian, a 12-foot-tall crystalline being and the Academy's director, addressed the gathering. "The singularity containment field is experiencing cascading fluctuations we cannot resolve through standard procedures. We have approximately 72 hours before critical failure." Teams of the galaxy's finest minds were assembled to solve the crisis. The humans were assigned to observation duty, essentially removed from meaningful participation. But as they watched the senior scientists work, patterns emerged that the others seemed to miss. "Look at those energy signatures," Su Jin whispered, pointing to a holographic display. "They're not random fluctuations. There's a rhythm to them." Maya studied the engineering schematics. The containment field was designed with perfect symmetry, but the singularity itself isn't behaving symmetrically. "It's like they're trying to force the problem into their existing models instead of adapting their models to the problem," Jabari observed. Elena had accessed the station's historical data through means she chose not to explain to the others. "This has happened twice before, centuries ago. They resolved it temporarily each time, but never found the root cause." As the 72-hour deadline approached with no solution in sight, the humans made a fateful decision. They would propose their theory, even if it meant risking ridicule and confirming humanity's primitive status. Maya approached Senior Engineer Krull, a respected 6-limbed arachnoid being. "Sir, we've been observing the data and have a hypothesis you might want to consider." Krull's mandibles clicked with irritation. "This is hardly the time for human curiosity. Return to your observation post." But Su Jin stepped forward. "The containment field is based on perfect mathematical symmetry, but the singularity exhibits quantum chaotic behavior that's inherently asymmetrical." "Impossible," Krull dismissed. "All singularities conform to unified field theory." "Not this one," Jabari interjected. "Look at the harmonic resonance patterns. They're evolving, not failing." Grand Scholar Vexmorian had overheard the exchange and approached. "Explain your theory, humans." Elena brought up a simulation on her tablet. "The singularity isn't trying to break free. It's trying to stabilize itself in a new configuration that your containment systems are fighting against." With less than 24 hours remaining, the humans' theory was met with skepticism but desperation. The Academy leaders reluctantly agreed to let them demonstrate their approach as other solutions had failed. As the countdown to catastrophic failure continued, the four unlikely representatives of humanity prepared to either save the Academy or confirm every doubt about their species' worthiness to join the galactic community. Humanity's finest hour. What we're proposing is adaptive containment rather than rigid symmetrical containment, Maya explained as they stood before the Academy's Crisis Council. Her hands moved with the practiced precision of someone who had spent years fixing complex machines. The singularity isn't malfunctioning, it's evolving, and your systems are treating that evolution as a threat. Grand Scholar Vexmorian's crystalline form refracted light in patterns that indicated deep concern. In 8,000 years of singularity management, we have never encountered such behavior. With respect, Jabari said, perhaps that's because you've always prevented it from happening. You've been forcing the singularity to conform to your expectations rather than observing what it naturally wants to do. Senior Engineer Krall's appendages twitched with agitation. Singularities do not have wants, human. They are governed by immutable laws of physics. Our physics, maybe, Sujin countered, but we've been studying your historical data. The previous incidents followed the same pattern we're seeing now. You resolved the symptoms temporarily, but never addressed the underlying phenomenon. Elena stepped forward with her tablet. I've modeled an adaptive containment field that would allow controlled asymmetrical development while maintaining essential safety parameters. The debate lasted hours, precious time ticking away, as the Academy's finest minds grappled with a fundamentally different approach to physics than they had ever considered. What the humans proposed violated centuries of established theory, yet the conventional approaches had repeatedly failed. This is unprecedented, Vexmorian finally said. But our options are limited. You have 12 hours to implement your solution. If it fails, emergency evacuation protocols will commence. The next 12 hours were a blur of activity. Maya worked with the engineering team, physically reconfiguring containment field emitters. Her hands, accustomed to fixing Earth automobiles, now adjusted alien technology with surprising intuition. Jabari and Sujin collaborated on theoretical calculations, translating their understanding of quantum chaos into the Academy's mathematical framework. Their unorthodox methods initially confused their alien counterparts, but as the work progressed, a few began to see the patterns they were describing. Elena reprogrammed the containment field management system, building in adaptive algorithms that would allow the field to respond organically to changes in the singularity's behavior rather than fighting against them. Your code structure is highly irregular, commented a silicon-based computer specialist named Skitter. But I must admit, it is elegant in its adaptability. With less than an hour remaining before projected catastrophic failure, they activated their modified system. The massive chamber housing the singularity hummed with energy as the new adaptive field engaged. For several tense minutes, nothing seemed to happen. Warning indicators continued to flash red across monitoring stations. Then, gradually, almost imperceptibly at first, the readings began to change. The fluctuation amplitude is decreasing, reported one of the Academy scientists, surprise evident in their translated voice. Harmonic resonance patterns are stabilizing, added another. On the main view screen, they watched as the singularity, visible only through its effects on surrounding space-time, pulsed and shifted. Instead of fighting against these movements, the new containment field adjusted continuously, allowing controlled expression of the quantum changes while maintaining overall stability. After 20 minutes, the emergency status indicators began switching from red to amber, then to green. Containment integrity at 97% and rising, announced the monitoring system. Projected failure risk now below critical threshold. A slow wave of relief spread through the control room. The humans exchanged exhausted but triumphant glances. It's working, Maya whispered. It's actually working. We shouldn't celebrate yet, Jabari cautioned. The singularity is still stabilizing. 3 hours later, the situation was officially declared resolved. The singularity had settled into a new state, asymmetrical but stable, with the adaptive containment field maintaining perfect security while accommodating its evolved nature. In the aftermath, the Academy was abuzz with discussion. What the humans had demonstrated challenged fundamental assumptions about quantum physics that had gone unquestioned for millennia. Grand Scholar Vex Morian summoned the humans to the Academy's ceremonial hall. Representatives from every department and species filled the vast space, their attention focused on the four unlikely heroes. In 8,000 years, Vex Morian began, the Academy has prided itself on being the repository of all significant knowledge in the known universe. Today, we are humbled. The crystalline being's form shifted to a configuration they had never seen before. Later, they would learn it was a gesture of profound respect. You four were selected not despite your unusual thought patterns, but because of them. The Confederation's assessment sought individuals whose minds operated outside conventional parameters. What we did not anticipate was how valuable such thinking would prove to be. Su Jin stepped forward. What we did wasn't extraordinary by human standards. On Earth, we're considered outliers, people who don't fit neatly into established systems. Perhaps, Vex Morian responded, that is humanity's greatest strength. You embrace cognitive diversity in ways other species have not considered important. You value those who think differently. In the days that followed, the humans found themselves sought after by Academy faculty and students alike. Their classes were restructured to focus on cross-species problem-solving methodologies rather than rote learning of established principles. Senior Engineer Krull, initially their harshest critic, requested Maya's assistance in reviewing other critical systems for potential improvements. Your perspective is refreshingly unconventional, the arachnoid admitted. Jabari and Su Jin were invited to collaborate with the Academy's Theoretical Physics Department on a new branch of study they tentatively called Evolutionary Quantum Dynamics. Elena found herself working with the Academy's cybersecurity team, her unorthodox approach to programming proving valuable in identifying vulnerabilities others had missed. 3 months after the crisis, a formal communication was received from the Galactic Confederation. Earth had been reclassified from a Category 3 developing world to a Category 1 partner species, a promotion unprecedented in its speed. You have done your species proud, Liaison Officer Kelb told them during a private meeting. But this is only the beginning. The Confederation has authorized the establishment of a dedicated Earth campus of the Academy to identify and nurture other unique human perspectives. Maya smiled, thinking of the countless other misfits back on Earth who might now have opportunities they'd never imagined. Just promise me one thing, she said. When you're selecting the next batch of humans, don't just look at the ones with impressive credentials. Indeed, Kelb agreed, 4 arms gesturing in understanding. We've learned that your species' greatest assets may be found in your most unexpected individuals. As they stood together looking out at the binary star system from the Academy's observation deck, Elena spoke the thought they all shared. They chose us because we were different, because we didn't fit in. And it turns out, not fitting in is exactly what the universe needed.